Hello everyone and welcome back to another video here on my channel. Today we are going to be going over what I feel are some of the best stock plugins that are included in FL Studio. Now these are all really good. It means of course you don't have to go and download anything extra. These are just things built into the DAW that you could use. Some of them are free full versions, so you could use them in any project you want. Others are on a trial basis, so you'll be able to use it, but I believe it resets if you try to reopen FL, so some of them you might end up purchasing if you like them a lot. That's actually going to be the first one we talk about today, but there's going to be quite a lot, including effects, actual sound design plugins, everything like that. There's a lot to go over here. So let's go ahead and jump straight into things here. Starting off, the very first one on our list, this is going to be Harmless. Now this is what it looks like. This could be super overwhelming if you've never used it before. And to be honest, my knowledge of sound design in here is pretty basic. I don't use this too often, and I probably should because it's really good. It's super capable. It's just a matter of I have other things like Serum and Vital already, so I never really dipped into this one. But like I say, it is super capable. When you boot it up, of course, it sounds just like any other synth. But honestly, this shines in things like the presets as well. We do have quite a lot of them, especially, if you don't know a lot about sound design on here, you could go through these. And just to demo a few of them, I have my MIDI keyboard set up. See, there's just nice wobbles. We'll go through a couple of these here. Full bass. But it does have other things as well, like there's just cool little sounds for non-basses, like some cool chord synths. This is one of my favorites. That is just a great sound all around. This one's really clean. This one doubles as a bass or a lead. This is one of my favorite presets in the whole thing. As a bass, it's just a noise saw. Go down a bit. I like to go into effects and crank that distortion amount a little bit more. But also as a lead. I don't know, something like that. It's a very cool sound, and of course you could edit these to however you want. And overall, as I say, really capable synth. So let's say we picked a sound off of here. I'll go back to that really cool keys one that I liked. Now let's say we wanted to add effects to this. FL has some super capable stock effects as well. I own several Reverb plugins, but I still always find myself going to Fruity Reverb too, just because it's really quick and easy to throw on there and easily get the sound you want. You can do a really short decay, minimal reverb, or go full out, have a nice gigantic sound, and I'll demonstrate that here. Let's just play a chord. So I'll just go up here. See, this is our wet, so this is how much of that you're gonna get. You could get rid of the dry and only hear the reverb, which is super helpful for if you're trying to shape it. And it puts it in the background. So up that decay, we'll make a big one here, up the size all the way. We could also shorten it, so that way it's super tiny. That actually sounds really cool. I'm gonna keep it like that. Bring the dry back in. I'm thinking there's too much of like lows in there, so we could increase the low cut. Do whatever we want to it. We could even delay the reverb from coming in, tempo sync it, everything like that. It's super helpful. And listen to that, it sounds great. If we get rid of the dry again, hear what that's doing. Super nice tone. What I really like to do, before I have a reverb, I'll throw in a delay. FL has an amazing delay. I usually go for a Fruity Delay 2, just because this is the old one. I'm super familiar with the interface, but it also has a new Fruity Delay 3. Both of these are great. If you're more comfortable with 2, you can go ahead and keep using it. I'm actually going to open 3 here just to demo that, because as you can see, it's a lot different looking. It's got different options, and it's really helpful. I haven't explored this fully, so I don't even know all the potential of this yet. But you see, same thing as before, we could get rid of our dry, so you just hear the delay, which is nice for when you're shaping it, but it also helps to just put it in a little bit, so that way you could hear what your original's doing. You see, there's a whole bunch of different options here that you could change. I like to edit the cutoff of the delay, so that way it sounds different than the main sound, so like this. You see, I had to do a little more than the first one, but that's doing it now. That's very cool. You could set it to ping pong mode, which is one of my favorites, edit the panning of it if you so choose. Lots of different modulation options, like you see we got rate, time, and cutoff. There's feedback, distortion, there's just a ton of options here, and you could really decorate your sound and make it sound really nice. That's a super quick delay, but I really like the tone of it, it's nice. Let's say you wanted to bring up the tails of like the reverb and the delay. I usually go for a compressor called gain reduction. If you've watched my videos, you've seen me use that loads of times. But FL has its own compressor. I will be honest, I don't really reach for this one too much anymore, because I did get some additional third-party options, as I say. But honestly, if I didn't have those, this one is more than capable of doing the job. I like to over-compress these kind of sounds, just because I like the tone you get of bringing up that huge reverb tail. But if I wanted to do something like this, even go more just to demonstrate better. It's super capable. You can change it to softer compression as well. There's different compression types. Very, very useful compression plugin. FL also has a multiband compressor. Now, I remember when I was first getting into music production, the layout of this freaked me out. It looked so complicated, I had no clue what to do. But honestly, think of it in sections. All of these, you see low, mid, and high. All of these knobs, it looks like a whole bunch of different settings at once, but these are all just confined to their band. So really, you're only looking at one of these like squares if you're trying to figure this out. And from there, it's just a normal compressor. But you can modify different bands with completely different settings. That is incredibly useful. I'm not going to do that on this sound. I don't really see the purpose for this one. But in a lot of other sound designing things, that's going to prove really, really useful. FL Studio also has a chorus. Now, this is something that if you set it to wet only, you're going to hear what it does. Honestly, actually, I'm going to change the sound of this because on this thing, it's probably already got some in the sound design. I'm going to demonstrate this on a saw so you could very clearly hear what that's doing. So here's the saw going through our effects chain. So you could hear that sounds kind of weird, right? That's because of the chorus. If we take it off, much more what you're used to a saw sounding like, but with some effects. So chorus just kind of adds interesting stereo information. You don't want to set it to wet only, that was just to demonstrate, but you just put it on a little bit. I don't know, just, it's really cool to mix it in, like maybe below 50%. It's just a little bit of interesting stereo to beef up your sound a little bit. Super helpful on guitars and even pianos if you want a crazy sound. FL also has a phaser, which is a nice creative effect. You can hear what that does immediately. I hit the wrong note there, sorry about that. But you could hear what that's doing, that's just a very typical thing. You could also do that, you know, in Serum, but Serum is not a stock plugin, this was just me generating a saw. You can do that in anything. But phasers are fun, I really like those. Honestly, FL has a ton of creative effects. There's also a stereo shaper plugin. This one I found really useful. If I was listening to tracks and I wanted to, say, isolate the sides, there's a preset for that just called side, and this will give you just the side information. So like on some devices you might not be able to hear that, it depends on if it's entirely mono or not. I thought that was a really cool mixing tool. Now we can't talk about FL's stock plugins without giving massive praise to Fruity Parametric EQ 2. If you've watched my videos, you know I use FabFilter Pro Q3 now. That's kind of like one of the standard ones, and it's a very high-end plugin. Pretty expensive, but it's good, I really like it. But Parametric EQ 2 is more than capable. To my understanding, the last time I used this, it's been a while now, I believe the thing that holds it back is that you can't do mid-side EQ. Maybe you can now, I might be wrong about that, but I'm not seeing the option here. That was something that, if you're just getting into music, you might not even need to do. But that's definitely something you'll find a use for after a while. But honestly, apart from that, it's got a lot of options. You could do your standard high and low pass and adjust the steepness. You can put these wherever you want and just get a nice sound. Now, I'm not sure if this has dynamic EQ either. That might be another advanced feature. Again, I haven't used this in a while. But when you're starting off, and honestly, even for the first few years, this is more than passable. It's a really, really good plugin. I love it. You could even use the original. I don't know why you would. Parametric EQ 2 is better. Looks nice. Very cool display, too. Like, I like how this is designed. You could do a couple of things here. Like, it looks like it's even got a linear phase mode, which is really cool. But yeah, overall, great plugin. Love that one. Another one that's honestly a relatively new addition to FL. I believe this was in the last couple of years. This synth called Flex. Now, if you're familiar with, it was really popular, I guess, like maybe 2013, 14 or so, if I've got that correct. There was a plugin called Nexus. The kind of thing with Nexus was it was just like a bank of presets. You couldn't really do sound design in it, I think. It was just you picking different sounds. This is pretty similar to that, but that there's a ton of really good presets. A lot of times when I'm finalizing a track and I just want cool stuff for the background, I'll go to this and just play notes and see what we come up with. You can see that's a great sound. Just going through some presets here. And of course, you could edit all the presets to do whatever you want them to do. Cool sound. And you know, I'm just clicking on random ones here. It's got everything. That's a really cool bass. Crazy stuff like that, too. And noise, okay. Yeah, all sorts of options here in Flex. Great plugin all around. Another thing, this isn't really a plugin, but this is a brand new addition to FL Studio. There's this Sounds tab. Right now they have a free trial, so you could try this out. This is basically Splice, but built into FL. It doesn't show up on the video because this opens in a different window. But literally, it's the same thing as Splice. You could type in whatever you're looking for, drag and drop stuff directly into your project, and it is super useful. Again, free month trial as well. And I believe there's even a free tier if you just want to grab some sounds for yourself. That's going to wrap us up, though. I have been talking for quite a while about some of these, but that doesn't even begin to scratch the surface of all the good stuff FL offers for free. Let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you. What are your favorite plugins that you reach for that are just stock built into FL Studio? Unfortunately, I think a lot of these are locked down to just FL, so if you're not using this, I don't know if you could get access to most of these. I think there are a few you could just buy. But if you want to see another video that's kind of more for every DAW, just like best free plugins, that's something I'd like to make as well. But drop a like on the video if you enjoyed it, and subscribe for future content like this. But anyway, that does wrap us up. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video.